Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, let me get my chat back up. Sorry about that. I was getting pinged by a lot of stuff. Yeah, Cherry, it's a lot easier if you kind of ask questions as you go along. So the overall objective of the game is it's a 4v1. One person plays a monster. Their goal is to kill all the hunters or destroy the relay. The relay can only be destroyed when you evolve to stage 3. You evolve by eating wildlife, which is what he just did. They provide a certain amount of energy. Once that energy bar is full on his screen, it's this little blue bar right up here. Then he can go ahead and evolve, get extra ability points. It becomes a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger and gets more max health. The hunters all have 4 different roles. There is Assault, which is primarily the damage dealer. The Medic, which primarily keeps the team up and about. The Support, which basically enhances the team, either making it better with protection or more offensive with damage. And then the Trapper, which is generally the one who has the most amount of crowd control. They slow, stop, and can with the monster. They also usually have some sort of a tracking ability, as well as all trappers have the ability to scan the planet for all wildlife. So the monster will leave footprints behind. You can't see them in observer mode. And then up here, and so the goal of the game is the hunters want to kill the monster wants to destroy the relay or the hunters. The game does have a time limit. If the time limit goes out, the hunters win. You can see the time elapsed by default, I believe, is T. That might be a custom key binding for me. I'm not too sure. But why do you watch people play and not play yourself? I do play by myself. I actually have a lot of YouTube videos for it. But I do a lot of coaching because I want to help people get better. Because there's a lot of new people in the game. And I want everyone to have a good, enjoyable experience. So this is a decent dome for Sledge. She should, especially against Tech Sergeant Hank, if she can bring the fight into the, into the caves, that'd be really good. So right now, I would honestly be going after Kyra, but pushing someone into the caves is actually a really good idea. The reason why I'd go after Kyra is because Kyra can't be protected with shields by Tech Sergeant Hank very well. Nice charge there. So she got a strike, not much damage coming out, not very much punishment. Generally against Goliath, you want to be on the high ground. So you want to be here or up here, and then there's another one back here. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be on the low ground with Goliath unless you're running around circles around a pillar for a specific reason. So here comes the dropship. Tech Sergeant Hank should be popping back in just a moment. And nice mine placements. Putting mines up on the ridge is a really good deterrent. But there's not a lot of damage, so the monster's going to stick around for a little while. Try and get another strike and see what happens from there. And so here we go. Not a lot of punishment, so the monster basically has free reign on Kyra. Nice dodging by Kyra, but it does. There's just a little too little damage going on. Monster going to take 2 strikes and then go ahead and then leave. Monster is ready to evolve. And looks like she's going to go this direction and then go ahead and pop her evolve. And there's Gobi. Gobi found the monster. Monster probably going to evolve right on top of this. I'd love to be able to have a little evolve nook right back there, even though there's no reason for it. Just because evolving behind a waterfall is cool. So they might be able to take a little bit of pot shots here, and she'll take double damage from that. Dome is going to be up, so now they should be able to go ahead and hard cut the monster. But it looks like, yep, it looks like the monster is going to go ahead and engage. Sees the medic by herself. Nope, and decides to go back and go after Assault, it looks like. So Assault should go ahead and Assault popped the shield way too late. The Assault shield works very different from the way it used to be. Usually you want to pop it after you've taken about 15 to 20% damage. That way the medic can heal you, and it's going to make the monster stop attacking you. When you get better, I would recommend doing it around the 40% mark, but you really need to do a bit closer. And there goes the Assault. Monster just having a really, really easy game here. I might have to rotate Sledge off Monster. and go from there. But I might have somebody else try out monster to see if I can balance things up. It depends on the monster and the hunter, Cherry. Earlier, if you watch my VOD from earlier today, then I mentioned about good domes and bad domes for all the different types of monsters. Are you playing this by yourself? No, right now I'm doing observer mode. I like that Zod decided to pull back and wait for his team to replenish. Okay. Sorry, I'm just catching up on all these people trying to chat. Do you gain food? You gain energy, yes. You get 2 bars worth, so the equivalent of eating a 2 meat for every time you down a hunter. Why is Meteor more often picked than Gorgon or Wraith? Wraith is horrible against teams that actually know what they're doing. I'm not sure. Gorgon is kind of an advanced character for some people, and so Goliath is just kind of an easier character overall. But Meteor Goliath is probably also the most overall balanced and best monster in the game at high levels. Okay, so Sledge might get domed here. Trapper all by himself, so if the monster does get domed, the Trapper's all by himself. Trapper realizes that. Monster evolving to stage 3. So at this point, the Hunters could probably go ahead and get set up. They don't have any deployables except for Markov. Markov should mine the hell out of this or this, and then get the monster to come to them. I don't work for TRS or 2K double, so I can't answer that question. But my guess is no. People do not balance around those things. If you're getting your butt kicked and ranked, eventually you'll get put down to a level where you're fighting people of your skill level. The problem is people think the ranked is a ladder, and it's not. You get a rating for people that you are. So people think that you know, play X amount of games and you should be at the top of the food chain. Doesn't work that way. So no, I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. Okay, let's go ahead and let's watch from the monster's point of view. So right now, yeah. So remember, you want to stay on the high ground. So you jump from high ground to high ground. Missed the rock throw, but you want to stay as off the ground floor against most monsters, but especially Goliath is definitely one of the worst ones to be on the ground with. Right up there with Behemoth. Okay, so Sledge doing a really good job focusing. 1.5 minutes. I don't think that the Assault and the Trapper are going to be able to survive that long. Nice dodge by Zod. And I like that he used Crow. Really good job there. Nice little plink damage. I'm really liking this Crow player. He's pretty good. But we'll watch Crow in the next fight, so you can kind of see how and where you should be on avoiding things. So Sledge going after the Assault. Is she going to go away for energy, or she's going to... Nope, she's going to go after the Trapper. Okay, so using Gobi as a scout, really good. But still staying close enough to the power relay to get her off if need be. I don't think it's a misplay because the team's not going through the armor with the monster anyway. So doing charge shots and getting through the armor is fine. Okay, so if he can go ahead and survive for 15 seconds, the rest of the team would get here. So there's a good chance that Zod's going to die, but watch his jetpack management. He goes from high ground to high ground, and that's what you want to do. Should have stayed up on the high ground, but he is going to go ahead and buy enough time for his team. But nice jetpack management by Zod, by the way. Going up and down and abusing verticality. Goliaths have a really hard time going against people that go up and down on terrain a lot. Uncharged is more DPS, but in all of the engagements, the hunters never got through the armor, except for that last one. Okay, so here we go. So again, hunters on the ground would have popped the assault. Pop your shield, pop your shield, pop your shield. I don't know why the assault's not popping his personal shield. No. Okay, again, you can't wait for that long to pop the personal shield unless you really, really know what you're doing or you have a really great medic because it's very easy to break through that. And assault dies. Should have popped it a little bit earlier, in my opinion. Monster getting a little bit of armor back. And we're going to go ahead and watch from Zod's point of view. So, Hunter trying to charge shot to slow down. But yeah, spending way too much time on the ground. The ground really, you can't stay there. You have to go from high ground to high ground. Because all monsters kind of struggle in the air. Goliath does have fire breath, so it's not completely that. And we'll see what Maple's going to do. Yeah, and you definitely don't want to be pinned in the corner, because then you just get killed. So Zod trying to survive for another minute and 15. We'll see what happens. But watch how he jetpacks, how he goes from high ground to high ground. Like, that's what you want to do. Nice little bait there. GG. Not necessarily, Knight. I definitely don't think that the route should always be use uncharged shots. GG. Let's go ahead and back up.
Yay, I'm awful.
Actually, no, you were doing really good. You're one of the few that were using your jetpack in the right spots. So the big thing is Sledge, you did a really good job. I'm probably going to rotate you from Monster because I think that your skill level is a little bit higher than the rest of the group, if that's okay. If you want to swap with another player, probably going to Assault. I'd have to double check the rules in just a second. But overall, you were doing fine. You did really good job. You stuck around when you had armor, got a free extra strike out of it. The overall, though, the Hunter team just wasn't punishing the Monster, and so the Monster basically stuck around and got more free strikes for very little effort. So make sure you're always punishing the Monster, and especially against Goliath, you want to stay on the high ground. There are a lot of times when you guys were just on the ground, which makes it very easy for them to leap smash and charge you into a wall, and then peg you pretty well. But no, Zod, you were doing a really good job. You were staying on the high ground. When it was Fire Breath, that's when you went around corners. You were doing a really good job. And so I was focusing on you towards the end to show people how to use jetpack, because you really want to go from one high ground spot to another, because then the monster has to use a traversal, and they can't do it with, like, they can't use an ability immediately when they come towards you. They either have to climb up, or you see the monster coming towards you, and that gives you enough time to reposition. But just be careful in dome fights. You don't want to do too much moving around. The medic generally stays put in the middle-ish of the area as long as they have line of sight, and then don't really use up your jetpack unless you have to. The only people that should be chasing the monster with jetpack would probably be Assault. Just remember, when you're the Assault, pop your shield when you're probably taking about 30 or 40% health damage. If you pop it and you have like 20% health left, the monster can just burn that down very easily, and the patch next week is going to make that even harder, and that's going to make it it's going to make it easier for the monsters to burn you down, because you're going to be absorbing less damage. So always try and pop it closer to when you take about 30-ish% health, and then that way you can get topped off, and if the monster continues to focus you, you absorb it. If not, you get back up to full, and then you can go ahead and start harassing the monster more. Usually whenever I pop my shield, that's when I'm like much more aggressive, and then once it's on cooldown, I pull back, make sure I get healed up, and if I have full health, then I'll go ahead and engage. Just make sure you remember to come back to your medic, because if the medic's chasing you around, they're going to run out of jetpack, attack, which means they're going to be an easy target for the monster. Otherwise, really good job, again, on the monster's play, but just make sure you do more punishment so that the monster doesn't get strikes. So let me go ahead and go through the roster real quick.